Hey, welcome back to Rusted Horsepower. I got a little bit of rainy weather today, so I'm going to see if I can take the carburetor off my Chevelle. It's been giving me some problems lately, and see if I can get some bench work done on it. So that's how quickly we unbolt the carburetor. Everything looks pretty clean in the intake. Let's go ahead and cover this up. And we'll just be taking the carburetor to the bench. So this little Rochester carburetor has been giving me problems for a while. A while back, before I ever started the channel, I did a carburetor kit on it. I ended up cutting the throttle plate screws off, taking the throttle plates off. I was going to try to seal up the shaft, but it looked like somebody had already done a repair, so I basically did all that for nothing. But when I reinstalled the throttle plates, I think I might have cocked them and put them at an angle, because I feel like the carburetor is always off idle. It doesn't want to idle down completely. And I think that's why it was dripping so much fuel out. If you look inside the intake, everything looked clean. It didn't look like it was just excessively dripping fuel from the fuel bowl. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the lower plate, see if I can't redo that repair with the throttle blades, and go from there. I'm not sure if you could tell, but whenever I was actually holding up the throttle to the camera, if you went to the farthest close position, pushed it in, whenever you'd go back off of it, it would actually bind. So I believe what's happening is it's keeping the carburetor off idle, basically keeping it accelerated and keeping more fuel ports open. So right now at this point, I got to cut off the staked ends of the screws, take them out of the throttle shaft, release the throttle blades, center them as best as possible, and put new screws in. So yeah, that didn't go as expected. That's exactly why they warned you not to mess with those screws. Two of them ended up breaking off even though they were new screws. I ended up having to drill them out, and reverse drill bits later, and a little bit of pin punch, a little bit of small tiny nails being punched in there later. I managed to back them out. I managed to break them off and save the threads. Let me show you. There's a broken bolt. If you look really closely, that's some of the threads that came out. That's the first one that came out. That one was like real nice. The second one that came out, I only have pieces of it because that one was a real fight. I have a couple of new screws here. Just showing you how I was able to save the threads. Of course, I don't have a tap that size, but driving the new screws through there would be enough. I also took the time to polish off the throttle blades a little bit. Last time I think I hesitated doing that. I figured that it might hurt the coatings or anything, but I figured the carburetor's so old, it wouldn't hurt to knock some of that oxidation off. I also kind of deburred the edges as well in case that was part of what was causing the bind. Now I have to just basically reverse the process. Hopefully they get straight in there in the bore and I don't have any more problems like last time.
Two hours later.
So yeah, things got a little hairy there. I didn't expect broken bolts. But before I put the butterflies on, the throttle blades, I ended up backing out the mixture screws. I didn't want them getting in the way. And I tried positioning the throttle blades as best as possible in the most closed position of the throttle, and I could still get some binding. I could still get that clicking. But you know, after staking the little screws, I tried it out afterwards and I hardly felt a bind at all. So maybe I didn't have it properly supported the last time. Maybe I slightly bent the shaft. Here's my little fixture that I made real quick. The bottom of the ball peen hammer rests on the throttle shaft, so it kind of supports it while you're hammering. The reason you stake those screws, or basically chisel them and then flatten them down, or either way, the reason you do that is so you don't drop a screw into the intake and into the engine. So yeah, like I said, things got a little hairy there. I didn't expect to have broken bolts and be drilling stuff out and knocking out threads. I actually had to put away my dark safety glasses and grab my up-close seeing glasses. But everything worked out after all, though. I managed to save the threads on the throttle shaft, and so now all I have to do is put the throttle assembly back up to the carburetor, bolt it up, take it back to the Chevelle, and bolt it down. Wouldn't you know it, by the time we're done with all the bench work, all the weather clears up. Well, that's the way it goes. But yeah, that's how quick the carburetor bolts back up. Next time around, I'll be starting it up, readjusting idle, mixture, checking timing, doing all that sort of thing. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.